In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. This is not just a tagline, but a grim reality that defines the universe of Warhammer 40,000. This is the tagline of Warhammer 40,000, a universe of unending conflict and grim-dark science fantasy. It is a world where hope is a distant memory and survival is a daily struggle. Humanity is besieged on all sides by aliens, heretics, and demons. The enemies are relentless and the battles are brutal with no end in sight. The Imperium of Man, a vast and decaying interstellar empire, is all that stands between humanity and extinction. It is a crumbling bastion of hope in a galaxy consumed by darkness. Warhammer 40,000, or 40K as it is commonly known, is a tabletop war game created by Games Workshop. Players command armies of intricately detailed miniatures, each representing the myriad factions of this dark universe. It is set in the 41st millennium, a time of unimaginable technological advancement and equally unimaginable horror. The technology is both a blessing and a curse, offering both salvation and destruction. The game is known for its gothic and dystopian aesthetic, its complex lore, and its vast array of miniatures. Each miniature tells a story, a piece of the larger narrative that is Warhammer 40,000. The lore of Warhammer 40,000 is as rich and detailed as any fantasy or science fiction setting. It is a tapestry woven with threads of ancient history, epic battles, and larger-than-life characters. It is a tapestry of ancient history, epic battles, and larger-than-life characters. The stories are filled with heroism, betrayal, and the eternal struggle between good and evil. The Imperium of Man is a galaxy-spanning empire ruled by the immortal God Emperor of mankind. His rule is absolute and his will is the only thing that keeps humanity from falling into chaos. The Emperor is a being of unimaginable psychic power who sits upon the golden throne of Terra, guiding humanity through the darkness. His presence is a beacon of hope in an otherwise hopeless universe. The Imperium is a brutal and unforgiving regime, but it is all of that stands between humanity and the myriad threats that lurk in the galaxy. It is a necessary evil in a world where only the strong survive. The forces of chaos, demons from the warp, seek to corrupt and destroy all that is good. They are the embodiment of evil, and their influence is felt throughout the galaxy. Alien races, such as the Orcs, the Eldar, and the Tyrannids, threaten the Imperium's borders. Each race has its own agenda, and none of them are friendly to humanity. And within the Imperium itself, heretics and mutants plot against the Emperor's rule. They are the internal threat, the rot within that seeks to bring down the Empire from the inside. Warhammer 40,000 is a game of epic battles and desperate struggles. It is a game where every decision matters and every battle can change the course of history. It is a game of heroes and villains, of hope and despair. The characters are complex with their own motivations and desires, making the story all the more engaging. It is a game where the fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance. Every battle, every decision, every character plays a part in the grand tapestry that is Warhammer 40,000. The origins of Warhammer 40,000 lie in the distant past, long before the Imperium of Man. In those ancient times, humanity was just beginning to understand the vastness of the cosmos and its own potential within it. In the age of technology, humanity spread out among the stars, colonizing planets and building a vast interstellar empire. This era was marked by incredible advancements in science and engineering, allowing humans to terraform worlds and create thriving colonies in the most distant corners of the galaxy. Technology advanced at an unprecedented rate, and humanity seemed poised to enter a golden age. Innovations in artificial intelligence, robotics, and energy production promised a future of limitless possibilities and prosperity, but this golden age was not to be. Despite the technological marvels, there were forces at work that humanity could not control or even fully understand. The warp, a parallel dimension of psychic energy, became increasingly unstable. This mysterious realm, which had always been a source of both wonder and danger, began to show signs of growing turbulence. The warp is home to demons, malevolent entities of pure psychic energy. These beings, driven by malice and chaos, had always posed a threat to the material universe. As the warp grew more turbulent, the demons found it easier to cross over into the material realm. Rifts between dimensions began to open more frequently, allowing these dark entities to spill into our reality. The age of technology came to a cataclysmic end with the coming of chaos. The once stable and prosperous human empire was thrown into disarray as the forces of chaos unleashed their fury. Demons poured into the material realm, corrupting and destroying all in their path. Entire planets fell to their onslaught, and the very fabric of reality seemed to tear apart under the strain. Humanity was scattered and broken, its once mighty empire reduced to ruins. The age of technology, with all its promise and potential, had ended in chaos and despair, leaving behind a galaxy in turmoil. From the ashes of the age of technology, a new power arose, the Emperor of Mankind. The Emperor is a being of immense psychic power, born from the combined souls of ancient shamans. He's a master of technology, a peerless warrior and a visionary leader. The Emperor united the scattered tribes of humanity and forged them into a new empire, the Imperium. He led his armies on the Great Crusade, a campaign to conquer the galaxy and reunite humanity under his rule. The Emperor's dream was to create a golden age for humanity, a time of peace and prosperity. He believed that humanity could only survive the horrors of the galaxy by standing united under his rule. The Great Crusade was a time of great triumph for the Imperium. The Emperor's legions conquered world after world, bringing them back into the fold of humanity. The Emperor created the Space Marines, genetically engineered super soldiers to lead his armies. But the Great Crusade was also a time of great tragedy. Horus, the Emperor's most trusted son and the War Master of the Space Marines, was corrupted by chaos. Horus turned against his father, leading half of the Space Marine legions in rebellion. The Horus Heresy was a civil war that engulfed the galaxy. The Emperor and his loyal legions fought against Horus and his traitor legions in a conflict that would decide the fate of humanity. Section 5. The Imperium Forged. The Horus Heresy ended with a final confrontation between the Emperor and Horus aboard the Emperor's flagship, the Vengeful Spirit. This epic battle was the culmination of a galaxy-spanning civil war that had torn the Imperium apart. The stakes were incredibly high, with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. The Emperor defeated Horus, but at a terrible cost. The battle left the Emperor gravely wounded, his body shattered and his spirit diminished. This victory was bittersweet as it marked the end of the heresy, but also the beginning of a new era of suffering and struggle for the Imperium. He was mortally wounded and interred within the Golden Throne, a life-sustaining machine that keeps him alive but prevents him from interacting with the material realm. The Golden Throne became both his prison and his sanctuary, a symbol of his sacrifice and the Imperium's desperate need for his continued existence. The Horus Heresy left the Imperium scarred and broken. Entire worlds were devastated and countless lives were lost. The once unified empire was now a fractured and war-torn realm, struggling to rebuild and recover from the immense destruction. The Imperium that emerged from the heresy was a far cry from the golden age envisioned by the Emperor. Instead of a utopia, it became a dystopian nightmare, plagued by corruption, fear, and endless conflict. The dream of a united and prosperous humanity seemed more distant than ever. It was a brutal and unforgiving regime, ruled by fear and superstition. But the Imperium endured. Despite the harshness of its rule, it managed to maintain order and stability, ensuring the survival of humanity in a hostile and unforgiving galaxy. It continued to fight against the threats that surrounded it, holding back the forces of chaos, aliens, and heretics. The Imperium's armies, from the stalwart Space Marines to the countless ranks of the Imperial Guard, stood as the bulwark against these relentless enemies. The Imperium is a testament to the resilience of humanity, its ability to survive even in the face of overwhelming odds. Through sheer determination and unyielding spirit, humanity continues to endure, fighting for its place in a galaxy filled with darkness and danger. Section 6. The Enduring Guard. The Imperium is a vast and sprawling empire encompassing millions of worlds and trillions of souls. The defense of this vast realm falls to the Imperial Guard, the largest standing army in the galaxy. The Imperial Guard is made up of billions of soldiers drawn from across the Imperium's countless worlds. They are equipped with a variety of weapons and vehicles, from simple laser guns to mighty tanks and artillery pieces. The Imperial Guard are the unsung heroes of the Imperium. They fight and die on countless battlefields, holding back the tide of darkness that threatens to engulf humanity. Section 7. The Emperor's Angels of Death. The Space Marines are the elite warriors of the Imperium. They are genetically engineered super soldiers created by the Emperor during the Great Crusade. Each Space Marine is a one-man army capable of taking on dozens of enemies at once. The Space Marines are organized into chapters, each with its own unique history, traditions, and gene seed. There are thousands of Space Marine chapters in the Imperium, each sworn to defend humanity from its enemies. The Space Marines are the Imperium's first line of defense against the most dangerous threats. They are the Emperor's Angels of Death, sent to bring swift and terrible retribution upon those who would oppose the Imperium. Section 8. The Long War continues. The Imperium is under constant attack from all sides. Chaos forces launch incursions from the warp, aliens raid from the outer darkness, and heretics plot against the Emperor's rule. The Imperium is a vast and decaying empire, plagued by corruption, inefficiency, and endless war. But it endures, held together by the faith of its people and the might of its armies. The Imperium is a grim and unforgiving place, but it is also a place of hope. For as long as the Imperium stands, humanity has a chance to survive. Section 9. A Galaxy in Flames. The 41st millennium is a time of great peril for the Imperium. The forces of chaos are growing stronger, alien empires are on the rise, and a new enemy, the Tyranids, threatens to consume the galaxy. The Imperium is at a crossroads. It can either adapt to meet these new threats, or it will crumble and fall, leaving humanity at the mercy of its enemies. The future of the Imperium is uncertain, but one thing is for sure: the long war will continue.